26 IIT Delhi alumni as global executive members. We have identified 12 geographies where we are planning to open chapters. These alumni who are global executive members have been appointed as geography coordinators. In some cases, like in the example of USA, where we have a large number of alumni, we have 4 geography coordinators. In other cases, we've got geography coordinators who are covering a couple of countries. At the same time, we have also appointed 8 advisory board members, and these geography coordinators have been paired with the advisory board members. And these geography coordinators are being mentored by these advisory board members. So let's kick off the third journey, the third episode of this globalization journey. First, a few updates. In the last week, I have appointed the 9th Global Advisory Board member. This gentleman is Dipankar Sengupta. He is an 80s batch. I don't know exactly which batch he is, a graduate from IIT Delhi. He is currently a partner with Ernst & Young. While living in Singapore, he is currently based out of Vietnam and specifically in Hanoi in Vietnam. Each advisory board member has been chosen keeping in mind the skill sets they bring, as well as deeper skills and experience in a geographic location. Along with that, we've also kicked off a number of special interest groups. The first and foremost was global alumni, or more specifically, global women alumni from IIT Delhi. And the girls, Ragi and Shijita, along with the advisory board member, Shashi, gave a great presentation last time. Along with that, we've kicked off a couple of other special interest groups. And these cover rankings, an issue which has quite a strong emotive connect with IIT Delhi and potentially thereby with IIT Delhi Alumni Association. We were also about to kickstart special interest group on research commercialization, emerging technologies, and over time, we'll be adding more to that. The topic, whether we should have a separate IITDA Alumni Association or we should be part of a bigger IIT, pan-IIT movement, has been subject of a lot of discussion and debate. And really, the conclusion so far is that the bonding happens much more strongly at IITD level, at the hostel level, at the batch level. So therefore, we will have a specific IIT Delhi chapters, but we'll align ourselves with the pan-IIT movement, as well as with other professional bodies like IIMs, etc. And a common theme which is coming through in the global chapters is that we need to leverage the Indian consulates and the Indian high commissions. And that, yes, is another element for each of these global chapters. And along with that comes along exploring chambers of commerce, which are operating along specific country and India, and building stronger relationships of that. And a specific example of that is how the IIT Alumni Association of Canada has done that very successfully in Canada. Today, we are also delighted to welcome a new leader to our community for today's session. And for that, I will hand it over to Ravi. Ravi, please unmute yourself and introduce Vinay. Ravi, are you there? Well, he doesn't seem to be there at the moment. So let me introduce Vinay as the announcement came through yesterday. Vinay Pipasania was yesterday appointed the CEO of IIT Delhi Endowment Fund. He is a 1985 BTech from Karakram and a strong executive experience in the automobile industry. Please give a round of applause to Vinay.
Hey, thank you, everyone.
I will be asking Vinay to speak to the group later in the session. So first and foremost, we have the mystery speaker of the day. Up to now, the mystery speakers I have been getting are purely with those who have been either from the global community or people who have experience in building up IIT Delhi or Pan IIT community experiences. Now, as we are going deeper down, it's important as we are talking about geography-India relationships or multilateral relationships to start looking at how we can leverage the cross-border relationships, the cross-border programs which are existing, and a prominent theme which came about in the last session was on research commercialization. There was a lot of discussion about academia to academia collaboration. However, we need to look at industry academia collaboration on a cross-border sense. That means academia from one geography collaborating with industry of another geography, India or otherwise. And with that, I'm delighted to welcome today Somnath Ghosh. He is 1975 BTech from IIT Kanpur, 1977 MTech from IIT Delhi. He started his career with Larsen & Toubro, and his last corporate role was as Chairman and Managing Director of NRDC, which is National Research Development Corporation. In between, he's had a number of roles in consulting, in setting up consulting businesses, in consulting, in research commercialization. With that, let's welcome and give a round to Somnath Ghosh. And Somnath, we would like to hear about your perspectives as to what opportunities are there, how best can this community take this and other aspects forward. Over to you.
Thank you, Pradeep. And hi, IITD alumni. It's great talking to this group. Basically, when Pradeep asked me to talk here, he asked me to show my experience about the two IITs, how the two alumni are interacting and what kind of contributions they're giving. Well, I'll first talk about my experience with IITK. Typically, the Alumni Association alumni have a stronger bonding with the BTech fraternity. So therefore, my association with the IITK alumni is perhaps more active than with the IITD alumni, because I did my BTech at IITK and did my MTech at IITD. But most of this interaction that we have at IITK and the IITK alumni is at a very emotional level. In the sense, IITK invites alumni every year to visit the campus. First kind invite for the Silver Jubilee celebration, for us, it happened in the year 2000. And thereafter, every 5 years, they keep inviting the batches. So we have about 100 odd alumni with spouses. We land up, have a lovely time for 2 days. But it's more of an emotional connect rather than a business connect or exploring business opportunities. The initiative that Pradeep has taken here to network with alumni, IITD alumni globally, is primarily to build a brand of IITD and in the process leverage the network for value creation, whether to support startups or to give back to society or in a larger effort in nation building. And this is a commendable effort, I must say. I do not see any such activity either at IITK or any of the other IITs which I've been interacting with, to my knowledge. My professional experience in using the services of IITs, however, has been with the other IITs. IIT Bombay and IIT Madras in particular. How did that happen? And actually these linkages, work-related linkages, happen through the IITK alumni or the batch linkages that existed. For instance, in the early days of the startup movement in India, I'm talking about 12 to 15 years back, I was talking to Ashok Jhunjhunwala at IIT Madras. He happens to be a batchmate of mine from IITK, and he was leading the RTBI, Rural Technology Business Incubator at IIT Madras, which was housed in the corridor of his department, the electrical engineering department. And he had a half a dozen youngsters working under him on various ideas. And at that time, the company I was working with, NRDC, National Research Development Corporation, we were angel investors in 2 of his startups. One of the companies called Unifor, we put in about 30 lakhs in 2008-9 period. And when we exited 7 years later, we got about 4.5 crores, about 15 times what we invested. And from the veranda of his EE department, Ashok built the research park at IITM that owns about 3 multi-storied buildings and houses almost 100 startups. And perhaps is one of the most successful research parks in the country. If anybody gets a chance to visit, I'm sure you should try to visit and look around and see the way they are doing. They have been far more successful than some of the other IITs in this initiative. I visited this research park earlier this year in January. I was there on a private visit. And of course, I went around and met the people at Unifor who we had invested in for angel investment more than 10 years back. I found today Unifor is valued at over 1,000 crores. And that's the kind of value creation that is getting done out there. Vision is important, backed by commitment and involving the youthful energy in these startups, backed by government support. What is this alchemy that is required to make it happen? Today, in this period, many government mechanisms have been set up to support innovation and incubation at IITs, universities, research institutions. Today, most of our institutions are fairly well funded in terms of infrastructure, equipment, and facilities. There are funds available under various ministries to support this activity. However, for IITD Alumni Association to get involved to drive this activity, it must have a legal organizational structure. I'm not aware of the current status of the legal structure of IITD Alumni Association, so I'm not able to comment. The reason being I'm not in the mailing list of IITDAA today. I used to be when I started with my first job in Mumbai. where I lived for 25 years. Males used to come to the address I used to stay, but in a different name. And several times then I'd written to the association to correct the contact details, but never got done. Hopefully today the association is far more agile to look into these matters. As IITDAA, what can we do? Yes, much can be done. We can look at the structure of our association as a banyan tree, the core being the trunk of the tree of IITD, and supported by other structures, and IITDAA Globalization Initiative could be one of the structures. IITDAA Emerging Tech Initiative could be others, and plus IITD's own initiatives in various sectors, and of course, including the academic world. This banyan tree can bring under its canopy relationships with institutions globally, as well as with institutions across India in a cross-section of disciplines. Interface that with funding and support initiatives available within the country, as well as intergovernmental support programs such as GCC under the Department of Science and Technology. This afternoon, we had a meeting of the IITDAA Emerging Technology Group, where very positive outcomes were discussed, and we formed the special interest groups. And as in that group, there was a lot of desire to network for value creation and to give back to society. Among the many ideas that cropped up in the group, a thought that is perhaps more relevant in this group, which was not talked about there, but I thought let me discuss it here, is contributing to the Indian corporates. There is an opportunity I see there, because Indian corporates are largely family-run businesses. They have a need to professionalize and globalize. So there is an opportunity for senior IITD alumni to take post-retirement assignments to mentor such companies or to be consultants for short periods in such companies. There was a talk about giving back to society. I can share my experience in the social sector in using technology to make a change. We've done several projects, and technology is a great enabler. The company we incubated, Unifor, is in the voice biometric space. And some of the earlier creations we tested in a project in Madhya Pradesh, where we were working under the then MDG, Millennium Development Goal 2015 program. We're working in 10 districts to address malnutrition for women and children. And we're managing the entire program using voice biometrics, training women to make, say, wooden toys, and payments being made, the attendance being taken using voice biometrics, inventory management using voice biometrics, the tool that was developed by Unifor. And acceptance was certainly there. Like this, we can talk about a number of other initiatives. Pradeep, do I have time or do I need to end now?
Somnath, you are actually at exactly 10 minutes, which is your time. I will give you 20 seconds more.
Okay. Another very interesting project that we did was in Mizoram, where we introduced a turmeric production, organic, which was certified organic. And the project was so successful that the auction hub, which was earlier in Kozhikode in Kerala, shifted to the northeast. And a lot of technology interventions were made out there. I can't get into details because of shortage of time, but let's address this. I think the IITD alumni can take up such assignments, address these issues, and that can make a difference. Thank you very much. I'm available for questions, or you can send messages to this forum, and I'm glad to be of assistance. Thank you very much, and thank you, Pradeep.
Thank you very much, Somnath. Please give a round of applause to Somnath. And the key message over here is there is not one path only for collaboration or for give back or for nation building or for professional growth. There are multiple paths. And our value proposition should be that how can we leverage these multiple paths to make 1 + 1 is equal to 11, not 1 + 1 is equal to 2. That is the point, of this interesting presentation by Somnath. And there are a number of other aspects which will come up and we will follow through in the days, weeks ahead through our special interest groups. But I also wanted to mention to you that there are two initiatives that I'm driving. One is for emerging technology and one for globalization. We are today at the globalization session, and at some point in time, the two will be merged together. Potentially, the emerging technology will become a special interest group, and with subsectors within that at a later point in time. With that, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. As always, we are inviting an advisory board member to present his perspectives. And today we are going to have Yogesh Andle. Now, Yogesh is 1979 BTech from IIT Delhi. He has been one of the co-founders of Nucleus Software. He's been one of the founders or co-founders of a number of entities, including Grow Talent, Soil, and needless to say, he's a serial entrepreneur. He is also attached to a number of initiatives insofar as mentoring startups are concerned, including FICCI, Government of India, etc., etc. He has also been a past president of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So please give a round of applause to Yogesh. Yogesh, at the moment, apart from his other roles, he is also mentoring the UK team, where UK and Europe will be combined to make a single chapter, and we'll have another advisory board member, Amardev Sharma from Germany, and the two will be combined mentors for UK and Europe. Whether Brexit or no Brexit, we will still have a combined Europe and UK chapter. So over to Yogesh, please.
Yogesh, you have to unmute yourself, please. Yogesh, you are on mute. Oh, great.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradeep, for that very nice, sweet introduction. So I graduated in 79. I was in Nilgiri Hostel, textile engineering. And after I graduated, I never went back to textile industry. Right then, I started off working with two seniors from IIT Delhi, our own hostel, and many of you would be knowing them, Mr. N.K. Jalan and Mr. Himanshu Vash, HR Vash. And at that time, they had set up a computer center, a very large, most modern of that time, absolutely state-of-the-art system, a tech digital equipment machine. And I started doing odd jobs for them. And then gradually we formed our own small partnership with two of my friends. One, Vishnu Dusad. Some of you might know him from IIT 1980 batch, Textile, Nilgiri. And Arun Jain. Arun is a younger brother of Shailendra Jain. Some of you might know Shailendra Jain, 1977 alumni. And three of us started our first software development entity, grew it, and so we have been lucky. We got some good breaks, and today that partnership has grown into two large software development entities, Nucleus Software and Intellect Design Arena. Both of these companies, they provide products for banking industry globally. And both of them have been ranked #1 by IBS in their own product category as globally #1. So Nucleus for their loan systems, and Intellect Design for consumer banking and transaction banking, global transaction banking. So that's my professional career as what we did, what I started off with, and which provides me my daily bread. Besides this, I've been engaged with, we set up a HR consulting company 20 years ago now called Grow Talent. And Grow Talent did some phenomenal work in HR transformation in the country. And 10 years ago, we decided to move into leadership education, management education. We felt that the kind of managers that are being produced by the management institutes, while they are very good, they are excellent, phenomenally, they know how to grow companies, they know how to get shareholders return, and they're phenomenal. But the industry or the society needs something more. And therefore we came up with the thought that we need to set up an institution where we can develop leaders with character, competence, and enthusiasm. So 10 years ago, this experimental or innovative business school was started in Gurgaon. We've graduated more than 1,000 alumni. And you know what, the thing that gives us tremendous satisfaction and joy is when we talk to the management institutions like Harvard Business School. And last Thursday, we had a conversation with Professor Nitin Noria, Dean of Harvard Business School. The founder of Soil, Mr. Anil Sachdev, was in conversation. And whatever Nitin said in that 1 hour is precisely what is being done in Soil. So Nitin said that when he took over as the Dean of Harvard Business School, that was a time of a financial crisis, the entire meltdown that happened. And he said we had very, very serious discussion amongst ourselves in the institute. And if you permit me to quote him, he said that they discussed whether we as business school, have we been making positive contribution to the world or have we made a negative contribution to the world? By producing leaders, managers who were focused more on stakeholder value and taking undue, they were in the process taking undue risk. The profits was the motive, but is profit the only motive that we should have sort of developed, should have looked for? So he said that Harvard Business School, this simple one-line objective of HBS when it was set up in early 1900s was to educate leaders to make decent profit decently. And he said that was a time when we started reflecting on what should our new approach be, or what difference do we need to make. And so the kind of changes, the kind of conversations they started having were exactly the same conversation we were having in India. We had in India when we decided to start Soil, that we want to build leaders with character, competence, and enthusiasm. Knowing, doing, and being. And whenever we meet, we have conversations with the senior leaders of the industry. This is what we hear industries asking about. Okay, now enough of my own personal background. I would like to come to my association with Alumni Association. how I got involved in the Alumni Association activities. Of course, it always starts with the Silver Jubilee reunion. That's a time when we all go back and really connect. As Somnath mentioned, it's an emotional connect, and it gets rekindled or reignited at that point of time. So after our Silver Jubilee reunion, some of my friends, or rather the Alumni Association people at that time, sort of persuaded me to become the EC member. And from EC member to secretary to Alumni Association was a very natural progression. And I had the advantage of traveling with Professor Mannon at that time to US. At least I was there with in 2 of the delegations, and meet alumni in different parts of US. Probably that was amongst the first time when Alumni Association had stepped out of India. In fact, stepped out of the campus and went with the institute delegation. We attended Pan-IIT conferences. We went around. We went to Chicago. We went to the MIT. We went to North Carolina. So several places we visited, connected, and obviously the interest of the institute delegation was to attract researchers, attract faculty members, build collaboration, and connect with alumni in general. My personal agenda was to connect with alumni and see what can we do together for the institute, for the society. And I got tremendous response. And after me, for several years, that effort continued, but somewhere it started diluting down. And this year when Ravinder took over and we had a conversation, so I found Ravinder very, very enthusiastic about starting this reconnect with global alumni once again. So I see many values of this global association. We in the institute needs connect with many global institutions, industry, where all of us, our fellow alumni, are working. They're working in research institutions, they're working in industry, they're working in academics. And this cross collaboration across between Indian environment and the global environment, Alumni Association can play a very, very important role. And Alumni Association has a structure which can support it. It's a permanent body. All of us are life members of that permanent body. And we need to start demanding from the permanent body the kind of activities that we think they should be doing for all of us, for connecting us with the institute. In the last 3 years, institute has also become very proactive in reaching out to alumni. And many activities have started in the process. There is an alumni group which has started the IIT Endowment Fund. This was also, we used to discuss at that time in Alumni Association, and we used to say that we need to create a structure which is independent of Alumni Association so that it can have a structure in life of its own. The discussions continued over a period of time, and I think the opportune moment now has come when it's really taken shape, and I'm so happy Vinay has been selected as the first CEO of that endowment fund, and we wish Vinay the very best. And Vinay, you have our full support in your endeavors. Whichever way, whatever you would like us to do, we will be working with you and connecting with, help you to achieve that target that you have set. And the closing observation, the last observation that I would like to leave this group with is endowment fund has set an audacious goal for itself, and I'm sure they will be able to achieve it. And the real fun would be in that journey to achieve that goal. So I would like to see this group setting a very audacious goal for itself. And then I'm sure all of us will be able to work together for the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, or 10 years, and to make sure that we achieve that audacious goal. Let me assure you, the journey itself will be no less enjoyable and rewarding. Thank you. Over to you, Pradeep.
Thank you very much, Yogesh, and a big round of applause to Yogesh.
Thanks, Yogesh. Very nice.
And Before I move on to the next item, I just want to comment that yes, give back to IIT Delhi is one of the value propositions that this community is looking for. But there are a lot of other value propositions also we need to consider, because let me imagine a young graduate of 2020. Will give back be his highest priority? I can understand from 1966 batch or 1977 batch, so therefore we've got a range of alumni. And also on the other hand, IIT Delhi is an important stakeholder, but there are other stakeholders also as we evolve into a value-based association. And likewise, we are going to be changing our perception or the way we also expect that IIT Delhi will also be changing its stance to meet the changing needs of the alumni. At the same time, being nimble and innovative as compared to other IITs and to position yourself. The impression that I got when I met Professor Ram Gopal and the other deans when they came to Australia in the March was the very fact that they came to Australia or Sydney only for one night to meet the alumni. And also when Professor Ram Gopal joined it, this group at a very couple of hours notice did indicate to me, yes, they are making the steps forward. So let's make it happen. And with that, I move on to the next item of the agenda, which has been a very, very strong emotive connect, which is in regard to rankings. Actually, the topic is more broadly rankings and branding. But today's world, rankings have become very, very important, and how they are calculated, and so many kind of questions come up as to why, despite the fact that we have such a good global brand, why are we not performing so high in the rankings? And for that, we've got some two delightful gentlemen, Professor Manmohan Sodhi, who's been recognized as one of the top 10 professors in operational management globally and is based in London, heading a special interest group on rankings. And we also have Professor Nemi Banthia, who's doing a lot of interesting work. He's the CEO of Impact. He is a professor and chair of Canada Research at University of Columbia in Vancouver, who's the advisory board member, who's also working on rankings. So may I now invite Manmohan Singh to kickstart his presentation on rankings, followed by remarks by or comments by Nemi. Please give a round of applause to both. Over to you, Manmohan.
Yeah, I'll just share some slides. Okay. Are my slides coming up?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So the idea is I'll quickly go over some basic facts, and then Nemi will initiate discussion on what do these mean for us as IITD Alumni Association. So 4 things. I'll talk about the first 3, which is, first of all, why should we look at IITD rankings as the Alumni Association? And a little bit of facts about the different rankings, at least based on WhatsApp, which is the main source of information these days. There seem to be a lot of misconceptions around that, so I'll cover that. And then the gap between where IITD is and where it needs to be to get into the top 100, which is the stated goal for IIT Delhi. And then Nemi would lead the discussion on how IITD Alumni Association can help. So first of all, why should we even bother as IITD Alumni Association? Because it is clearly a very internal matter for IIT Delhi. But still, at least our draft charter, which Sunday will lead discussion on later today, is that we should help IIT gain its rightful recognition. And Pradeep just mentioned that. If we are such a great institution, why aren't we ranked proportionally to that? And then we can certainly directly help with some of the metrics that go into ranking. And Professor Rao was here a couple of meetings ago, and he said that IIT Delhi Alumni Association can help IIT, and he thought that globalization was a weakness, and certainly many of the alumni being outside India might be able to help. So so there are things he said where we can help, but we as the Alumni Association also need to see where we can help. So I thought it would be good to do our own analysis a little bit. First of all, many of the alumni, they are studying in institutions that are already in the top 100 where IITD wants to be. And some alumni are also involved with rankings or familiar with rankings. So I figured it's a good thing if we, as the IITD Alumni Association, and especially the GCC, formed our own opinions on the matter. I'll go quickly over a couple of rankings. This is the QS World Rankings. Some of you are already familiar with it. It's quite widely followed throughout the world. There are very clear metrics. There's an academic reputation, which is based on a survey, employer reputation also based on a survey. These are global surveys. There's also faculty-student ratio, citations per faculty, and so on. I'll let you take a look at that list. But essentially, when you boil it down, there are three things that stand out. There's research, there's industry collaboration for placement and other things, and there's internationalization. So this is the QS ranking. And similarly, if we look at the Times Higher Education ranking, there again, exactly the same three things will come up in different shapes and different weights: research, industry collaboration for projects, and internationalization. And Professor Rao had also talked about internationalization to the IITDAA GCC. So again, teaching, research, citations, international outlook, and industry outcome. Industry income, I mean. So one thing, so I'll go over the higher education one, the Times Higher Education, which is also very widely followed ranking. And again, in WhatsApp group, I've seen it mentioned. So that's the one I'm discussing here. So Times Higher Education produces a lot of lists. One is the global list, and then it produces the same list for Asia as well. And basically, to get into the top 100 globally, you really need to be in the top 10 for Asia. So these are the top 10 Asian universities. So it's the 10th one of these is barely into the top 100. So the 10th one is the 100th on the Times Higher Education, the global list. So in a way, you could argue if you beat that on these rankings, then we would also be in the top 100. And again, there is an overall score, and then there are those 5, 6 metrics, and those metrics have different weights. Those weights are, the scores are weighted up and averaged, and then that's how you get overall score. It's fairly transparent. Some of the comments on WhatsApp are that, oh, these people are making these numbers up, but it's fairly transparent. So if you look at just the Asia top 100, not the global top 100, just Asia top 100, IIT Delhi is currently 67th just in Asia. So very far from the top 10 that IITD needs to be if IITD wants to be in the top 100 globally. So you can see that only 2 things out of all those factors, only 2 factors, which are research and citations, they effectively determine the Asia top 10, meaning nothing else matters other than research and citations if you want to be in the top 10 for Asia. And that means if you want to be in the top 10, top 100 globally, that's on the right side of the red line that you see there. So Asia top 10 equals global 100. So IIT Delhi already benefits from many other factors because based only on research and citations, the ranking would actually be much lower because it's below the trend line. So this for me was a very surprising finding. I like spider diagrams because they make things look much more complicated than they need to be. So, so you can see if you want to be a globally top university, that's basically the outermost ring here. That means if you want to be number one in the world, then you'll be pretty much getting scores 100 on all of these dimensions. It'll be 93, 98, 97, and so on. The blue line, the solid blue line, is the average of the top 10 in Asia. Yeah, that means that's where we need to be just to get in the top 100 globally. The black line is IIT Delhi. So you can see, and some of the other ones are other Indian universities. So you can see there is a pretty big gap. One area where IITD is close to the global 100 or the Asian top 10 is industry income, but that has very low weight. Professor Rao was right that with internationalization, we are very far from the global, let's say, top 10. Oh, sorry, the global, top 10 Asia. But if you look at research, even compared to many other universities, IIT Delhi is very low. And then if you look at citations, those citations improve, but still very far from getting into the top 10 for Asia alone. And if you combine research and citations, you saw that shows IIT Delhi rank is 67, but based on research and citations alone, IIT Delhi rank should be much lower than 67. Teaching is good. It could probably be improved. Teaching here doesn't mean how well you teach. Teaching means student-faculty ratio. Teaching means how many PhD students to the number of undergraduate students you have, and so on. So again, very hard metrics, not things. So anyway, this is why overall, the rank, if you look at the overall score, there is a big gap. IIT Delhi is around 44, and to be in the top 10 globally, we need to be around 75 score. And that score would really need to come from research and research and citations. So basically, I've covered why the gap for IITD to get into the top 100 slot globally or top 10 in Asia. So I'm going to now ask Nemi to initiate the discussion on where we as alumni can help. Over to you, Nemi.
Thank you very much, Mohan. Can you hear me? Can all of you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. This is excellent, actually. Thanks, Mohan, for really putting all that hard work into it. So Mohan did all the heavy lifting here, and I'm just come at the end, I think, to give you some of my thoughts. So thanks for the opportunity. So just a quick background. I'm from University of British Columbia, which is 37th in ranking right now, and actually I sit on the local our committee, I think, for looking at internationalization and essentially ranking of universities. And I also sit on a bunch of other universities, including Tsinghua Advisory, which is top 10 in Asia at the moment. So I think there's a little bit of a background I have, I think, in terms of looking at what we could, what we could actually do. So there are some thoughts that I thought in terms of really how to improve the ranking of IIT Delhi could come into play. And I think we can all debate which one of these bullets actually apply to us in terms of really what the Alumni Association could do. Some of these are internal issues, as Mohan quite correctly pointed out, that we may have very little control over. However, we could actually suggest it back to the institution, say, well, looking at the overall experience from around the world, this is really what could be done internally to create a culture of citations, research, and internationalization. And I think the other factor here is, I think before I very quickly go through the list, is that we belong from, we come from so many different countries here, I think, and we are the perfect group to bring in that kind of advisory position to IIT Delhi, because many of us are already doing the kinds of work that we would expect, in fact, IIT do to embark upon. So basically, here are some of my thoughts. First and foremost, I would say that it's a long-term project. There's no silver bullet for any institution to become top 10 or top 100. I really believe, is a 10-year project that IITD needs to embark upon in order to really produce the kind of outputs that we are looking for. The other thing I'd say, research and internationalization cannot be separated. So although the rankings actually separate the two, but I would submit to you that, in fact, research and internationalization should always be looked at as one specific goal, because one affects the other. So clearly, some of the things here, participation in large international research projects. I looked at IIT Delhi does not participate in a number of large international collaborative research projects, which will allow them to tap into large international sources of research funding. What that leads to is it increases international co-authorships. And if you look at papers that are published nationally versus papers that are published with international collaboration, they get 10 times more citations. So if you do national work, you are already disadvantaging yourself in terms of your citations. So really, if you participate in international collaborations, you're really looking at maximizing your citations. It increases international co-authorships on papers and significantly increases citations per faculty and per paper. It also increases the talent pool and provides the impetus for visits by overseas faculty and, more importantly, overseas students. So a student from Canada, the United States, or the UK is not going to visit IIT Delhi until there is a reason to do so. And if you are involved in an international project, there is a very natural reason for an international faculty or international student to visit IIT Delhi. And that's critical. Otherwise, there's no particular reason for them to do that. They should participate in international journals as editorial board members, nominations for international research prizes, and fellowships, and participation in international core bodies, such as ASTM. I looked at their participation in international journals needs to be really improved upon, which really allows you to see which way the wind is blowing in terms of your new research area, which in turn increases your funding and your citations. And trust me, I think people on the editorial boards have a lot more control over citations. I am actually an editor-in-chief for a journal, and I know really how these citation games work. And I think this could really help them move forward. Now, recognize uniqueness of India. I think this is very critical. I think the world wants to work with India, and India needs to be open to collaboration. So clearly, India has a unique position. And the center we have, IC Impacts, which is Canada-India Research Center of Excellence, every time I have spoken to Canadian faculty, they say, well, I'd love to work with India, but I don't have any background here, or don't have any kind of a history of collaboration. And how do I approach an Indian institution because I want to work with them? So clearly, that's a very unique position India is in today's world. I think that they should recognize that. Increase national cooperation. This is, Mohan mentioned, this is a very important point with TIFR and ISC, etc. But I always see this as a stepping stone towards A, which is participation in international programs. Because I know TIFR and ISC do participate a lot. So I think this may be a wonderful stepping stone towards going into the larger international programs. Naturally occurring meaningful visiting professorships, which will again occur from if you do participate in a lot of international programs. And currently it's just Indians wanting to visit home. I think that needs to change. And I mean, I'm one of those. I think, I'm often, at IIT, etc., because I want to go and visit my mom. But I think you need to really go beyond that and create this kind of international structure where I think there is a natural tendency for professors to visit IIT. Hiring excellence, this is an internal issue, absolutely. And I think you really have to have stricter rules for promotion and tenure. And that's why I say I think it's a much longer term project. So if you hire only based on excellence and you make your internal rules very difficult for promotion and tenure, you really have, significant, I would say, long-term outcomes from that. And where I think IIT or this particular group can help is perhaps create an international advisory with highly cited faculty and industry personnel. I don't know if such an advisory exists at IIT Delhi, but it does exist at UBC, it exists at Tsinghua, it exists at SNU, where I'm also on that advisory. And I think it also at NUS, I also sit on their advisory, which is National University of Singapore. And clearly this brings in that wonderful things to sort of, it kind of brings a very different way of looking at things because you're bringing in people who can guide the process further. Second would be industry collaboration for student placement and industry projects. And this is where, again, IIT Alumni Association can help. But one point I would say is that in our reward system, we are rewarding just papers and not patents. And I think this is a big complaint we have in terms of recognition of faculty members. So I think, again, IIT Delhi could certainly push on patents, I think, which will allow us to really bringing that industry collaborations more actively. And secondly, our undergraduates collaborate a lot with the industry in IIT Delhi, but our PhD students don't. And I think there will be an opportunity for PhD students out of Delhi, IIT Delhi, to collaborate with industry. Placement in industry like our MyTax program here at UBC or here in Canada, which places PhD students into industry on 8-month basis. So I think it's really a very helpful process. And this is funded by the by the Canadian government. So these are some of my thoughts, and I think we can look at what we could do. I know this is our first meeting. So again, Mohan, thank you for putting this together, and we can certainly discuss it further. Thank you very much.
This is absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous, both Manmohan and Nemi. Manmohan's analysis was so good in getting to the crux of it, where we see that the internationalization component is 7.5%, but the bulk of it is research and citation. And Nemi, you have come down with such great steps in terms of how IIT Delhi can address this issue, as well as how the IIT Delhi Alumni Association can play a role. I am just delighted to look at what the talent pool is there in just this group. Last week we saw some great work by Ragi and Srijita. This week we are seeing some absolutely fabulous work by both of you. So well done, and we look forward to your absolutely leading this charge as a special guest interest group leaders. Please give a round of applause to Manmohan and to Nemi. After this, moving on to the next item, it is over to Ravi to talk about IIT Delhi Alumni Association perspective or any issues or updates that he has, and also to formally introduce Vinay from the Endowment Fund. So over to you, Ravi.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, thank you, Pradeep, for giving me this opportunity again to address this is our third GCC meeting. First of all, I would just from the last week and to this week journey, I'll just update that I will just update you what our alumni has done recently. Recently to what the alumni has done activity with the IIT Delhi, and second I will talk about the national education policy and how it is going to impact our IIT Delhi and IIT Delhi alumni as such. So with that I will just begin my talk. First of all, I would like to introduce and welcome Mr. Vinay Tripasinia. He is the 85 batch mechanical curriculum hostel. He is the first CEO of IIT Delhi Endowment Fund, and he was one of my team member. Last year, we gave a presentation to IIT Delhi in the Senate room, how to improve the IIT global ranking, and we were instrumental in guiding the institute, and the institute stood 47th in the world last year QS ranking. I mean, this 3rd March 2020, it came in the newspaper. We were, IIT Delhi was 47th in engineering and technology. And after the Mr. Vinay, which he called the short name PIPS, the professor told that, yeah, I'm teaching the brand and management for so many years. Today only, it made me to clear what's the difference between the brand and the reputation. And whatever the suggestion he gave, so they took very interesting. Even director was there. 1.5 hour presentation was in the Senate meeting. I was representing from the executive committee, like you are now heading our global activity. So that is the interaction with the Vinay, and I would like to share with you that 14 people across from the IIT Delhi who have applied for this CEO position, and 3 persons from IIT Kanpur and IIT Bombay combinedly, they have applied for this position, and they came to know that the IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur and IIT Bombay alums, they came to know about this activity through our IIT Delhi website. So that is the, the very competitive pool we had, and across the world our alumni has applied. So Vinay has taken this position, and I hope that he will work towards achieving the goals which have been set up for the endowment fund target $1 billion. Small brief, he will himself introduce, because the time I told the Pradeep that you accommodated in my time, so I have to be slightly brief while I was speaking. The second thing that our another alumnus, Mr. Ankur Puri, he from McKinsey, he gave the presentation to our IIT Delhi Senate, and he gave the 5 points A, B, C, D. E. The 5 points. I'll just read out those points which he told bold as aspirants for 2030. It's in context of IIT Delhi, and he gave 5 points A, B, C, D, E. He named them A, B, C, D 5. And the first A point he gave: drive research excellence through faculty, enhance educational experience and employability for the students, attain global competitiveness in select technology area. They emphasize that IIT Delhi should target some technology, maybe in a textile or maybe artificial intelligence, should identify some select area, and we should invest money disproportionately in those selected areas. Like when somebody might come IIT Delhi, yeah, IIT Delhi is good for so area or so research area or so activity. So that is how the brand get recollected. And the 4th point, the D point, there is sustained global leadership in entrepreneurship, linking better research and entrepreneurship. Like already Nemi and Manmohan has talked. Already we are in the process, and so sustained global leadership in entrepreneurship. IIT Delhi is known for their entrepreneur mindset. As you know, the more than 50% Indian origin unicorn companies are founded by IIT Delhi alums. So IIT Delhi, there are only 2 brand name comes. They are known for 2 things. One is the entrepreneurship. Second, the civil service of public policy. IIT Delhi contributes, makes one of the biggest pull to the these 2 area, entrepreneurship and the civil services, which we call the public services. And the 5th point, they talk about the contribute to society and country. That's like a generic. So they give 5-point presentation, 5.4 IIT Delhi bold aspiration for 2030. Now, after the presentation, the same day, the government of India has also released its National Education Policy 2020 after almost a gap of 34 years. And in the policy, they are talking about the role of alumni in the school education, how to enhance learning in schools, and they have dealt how the alumni should play the role. But the whole document policy is silent about how the alumni can contribute to the growth of higher education. The IIT Delhi is like definitely falls in the higher education bracket. In that, the one point which they have analysis, that is board of governors. And board of governors, the higher education should be run after certain time through board of governors, and these board of governors should have the member of those board of governors should have individuals who are of highly intellectual, committed person, and known into their respective fields. So they have not mentioned that they should be only alum or alumnus only, but but they have made it very open. Here, I would like to suggest that Board of Governors already IIT Delhi has given representative to Ministry of Human Resource Development, which has now become Ministry of Education with this policy, that IIT should be run by the IIT Delhi alums and some more experts of various fields. They have already submitted a report. Ministry is under consideration, but they have not taken still not in a final conclusion. So I would like to pursue through your help that Board of Governors, the IIT Delhi IIT Delhi alums should be a part of Board of Governors in a more broader way. Like Harvard University, they have the two Board of Governors per their website, and they elect in one of in Board of Governors their graduate alums elect their Board of Governors. So we can also find out some mix type what suits to our thing. I think Vinay will touch more on all these things. With that, I just conclude my today's thoughts and views. So what in the last 1 week has happened, like two of our alum, and one they have Ankur Garg, he has a computer science graduate, he has presented it one paper on behalf of McKinsey to the Senate about IIT Delhi 2030 vision, and the new education policy has come, which has talked about the Board of Governors and how we can take it forward. With this too, I just give over to Mr. Pradeep, and thanks for listening me, and thank you, Pradeep.
So thank you very much, and a round of applause to Ravi. And one question before you go, Ravi. And the question is that we are seeing among alumni two formats of email IDs. Now, where is this two formats of email IDs coming from? Any idea?
See, there are two ways of things. One can I answer very diplomatically, or one can answer the real thing. But I will take a diplomatically answer. I'll take. Since 2007, IIT Delhi Alumni Association is having their own through G Suite. We are having our own emails. So, like with your name, you can have IITDelhialumni.com. Like Yogesh recently discussed the last 3-4 years, the IIT Delhi Alumni Association was not doing the activity which were somewhere we are lacking the direction where the institute felt that those activities they should step in and take on. They should do themselves rather than doing through the IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So there was some trust, or there was some trust deficiency, and or we can say that IIT Delhi were not able to come to address that challenge. So they have taken the initiative, and they started a parallel the email ID, and this is recently started. I mean, recently means when our EC election were there, and before our last Dean Alumni, before he was demitting office, when we were busy in our election, executive committee election, and then subsequently we had our office bearer election. That time he issued that lifelong email address again. But now when I spoke to director and the dean, Professor Naveen Garg, I told let's have a common synergy, common database, common email, because people should not have a multiple email ID, multiple conflict. Like Subhendu Ghosh has asked that he is not receiving the communication. See, if you have an email in your name, definitely wherever you go, you will get a communication. But if you have a, like we have organization company also, they have their own organization name, company, they have their own official email ID. So similarly, if you have alumni association email ID, alumni will contact you wherever you are there. So it is always that I request, even my signature also changed. That have you taken email? Have you taken your alumni card? We are coming with a very high standard alumni card also. So that's my request, that if those who are taken the institute alumni card, there's no problem. We are accepting all the email ID, but we are requesting that you should have at least IITDAA alumni email ID also. So that is how the origin has done.
Okay, understood.
And now
So
there's a merging. Thank you.
so therefore, the key message, which I said earlier also, in this journey that we are on, it is very important that IIT Delhi and IIT Delhi Alumni Association are in sync. And as you rightly pointed out, there needs to be a single database, a single email ID, etc. So at the moment, I will leave this action item on you to discuss with the director, dean, or whatever it is, to look at how to resolve these kind of issues moving forward. So with this, again, a round of applause to Ravi, and a round of applause to welcome Vinay. Vinay, over to you, and to hear about your thoughts in terms of what you're going to be doing. What is this endowment fund? Is it just collecting a big multi-billion-dollar fund like Harvard or something like that? What is going to happen with the fund? So over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, Ravi. And thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome. It's such a pleasure to be amongst fellow other IITians. And, one thing I wanted to mention is that I have been in so many countries during the, course of my career that I think I've been also an international alumni like you, most of you on this call, and have been through problems that I'm hearing again and again. So clearly, there's still a lot of work to be done. And it all demonstrates that how active and keen we are to always be tenacious about getting it resolved. So I must commend you, gentlemen, for keeping that mission on. Thank you also for the opportunity to consider me and be the representative of all of us in the endowment fund. This endowment fund is actually the trigger for, I think, a bigger movement. While the endowment is the actual, purpose, it's the tangible purpose. But more importantly, I think it's the integration that we're all going to come together to work towards ensuring that our alma mater stays to the potential that it must be globally. The way I've heard it, and the way, in different parts of the world, whether it's the US, whether it's in the Asia Pacific area, or whether it's down under, when they hear about IIT, it's like, guys, we always hear about IIT, what's this? And the thing is that IIT to them is a unit, but they don't realize we're 7 or 8, at that time there were 7 or 8 IITs, and now of course we're much, much more. So it's amazing to understand that the collective brand that IIT can create awe for is so high. And then the factor within that, IIT Delhi continues to stand out within the prominence that it really has. But clearly, it can be much higher when it compares with other global universities. So we have some work to do. And I think the idea of making sure that IIT Delhi remains on its track for growth and for its research eminence, for its accessibility, and for ensuring that all the students, if we look back, and why I believe so much in this cause of why an endowment is important and the lessons learned, it's about ensuring that everybody remains at par. We all know that the IIT, the JEE is a huge filter. And once we come into the system, it's a great equalizer. It doesn't matter whether we came from Bihar, or whether we came from Delhi, or we came from Maharashtra, or whether we came from New York. All of us at that time were at par. We need to ensure that same parity always remains, and we don't create gaps, which is happening, because it's getting more expensive. It's getting really, really, sort of the support that's required to maintain its excellence is it's dependent upon this collection. The endowment is the buffer, and the endowment is us all providing that same environment that we went through for the next generation and for the generation after us. So the endowment is ensuring that we remain the sustainable institute that we've all gone through for generations, very much like it is in some of the 200-year-old and 300-year-old universities, which is Oxford and our Harvards and Stanfords and other in that part of the world. We are, IIT Delhi is 1960s, so we're one of the youngest. We have a long way to go. We're about 50,000 alumni, whereas the others are into 200,000. So the idea is we must do our part. It can be done in a strategic and in a very calibrated way. And I think that putting our collective heads together, I'm going to enjoy working with all of you with with connecting all the dots that are going to be there. Yes, the Endowment Foundation is a separate organization. And this organization is all the points that you were discussing right now. Something independent of the alumni, independent of the institute, but able to converge all the different purposes into one shared cause. And that's going to be the task that I believe is most important. Branding is going to be a big part of it because that is what is going to create the pull. It's not about hustling donations and donors. It's about creating a very natural desire to be a part of this eminent institute. That's the way I want to move forward with this. I would request all your support and we to integrate and to bring the whole world together back to the alma mater. I really understand the disconnect that have happened. I've been moved around and I've been experiencing it also. But yes, it's very much possible for us all to stay together to a common thread. And that's going to be the way in which I'd like to create a team that will support that. So that in a very quick nutshell was my introduction. I have a lot to do and I'm going to be connecting with a lot of you for insights, for understanding. But I want to stay true to the customer, which is our alumni body. It's very, very important. Keep it transparent, keep it of a high governance, and most importantly, keep it active. That's the three different ways in which I would like to move forward. Thank you, and really appreciate this opportunity to be amongst you.
Thank you very much, Vinay. And again, even for the sake of repetition, I will keep hammering in, yes, the emotional connect, yes, the base level giving back to alma mater, yes, but we need to transform this association into a value-based association, which makes sense and adds value to all of us. As we go further down the journey, we get caught into hundreds of other things, and if it does not come through as a value perceived by us, it will just fall through the cracks. So big round of applause to Vinay, please.
No, thank you, everyone. And I'd like to mention, Pradeep, here, this is a full-time job for me. So I'm going to be on this 24/7. All right?
Very good. Very good. Very good. And I will also, I think, touch base with you because I heard Ravi mentioning that you had given a presentation to IIT in regard to rankings. So may pull you also into the work that Manmohan and Nemi are doing so that we're able to synergize what is happening in different pockets.
It's a pleasure. And I can tell you, it was easy for me because I started at a level when we had nothing. Now there's been some appreciation. So the level that we just heard is to the next advanced level. It's the logical, next step forward to move on with our mission on that. So,
and also I will comment.
To helping that.
Yes, and I will also comment on the fact that yes, IIT Delhi is the youngest as compared to Harvard, Stanford, and so on and so forth. But that also gives us an advantage that we are not burdened with legacy, and we have an opportunity to leapfrog. And how we do it is all up. Okay.
Nope. Love your approach. Look at the positives. We don't have any shortcoming. We just have to look at the positives.
That's right. Okay. So thank you once again. And now moving on to the next item.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll have to leave because I had another call which I had to attend, but wonderful and looking forward to working very, very closely and intimately with all of you. All the very best.
Great. And typically we have a session every time on the vision, mission, and the charter that this global GCC is working towards. And we also have one geography coordinator talking about how they are going about building the community in their respective geographies, whether it be Canada, whether it be some other country. Today we have the same group so as to combine, in regard to the charter we have originally. Sundi has been leading it, and Sundi is also the coordinator for Singapore. Now, Manmohan has been adding a lot of value to the project charter, and Ragi has also been, giving her inputs in regard to Singapore. So, with that, please give a round of applause to Sundi as he talks about both the charter and Singapore.
Great. Thank you, Pradeep. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
And can you all see our lovely IIT Delhi on the screen?
Yes. Is it still the same? Is it still the same?
As of a week ago, this was actually taken on July 22nd.
Very good.
So,
excellent.
So I just want to do a time check, Pradeep. We are 22 minutes past the hour. So I will keep it quick. I don't know how much time do we have for the session.
So you have 15 minutes for the two, which is the project charter as well as Singapore.
Excellent, great. And I'll try to make it even more efficient in terms of time. So thank you again, Pradeep. I think that this session has been fantastic. A lot of ideas that we will incorporate. As you said, Manmohan and Ragi and I have been defining and strengthening this, and today's session was fantastic. So many good ideas came. I've been taking notes and we'll build into this. And for everyone, this is IIT Delhi exactly 10 days ago from one of our BTech mechanical engineer friends, Rupinder Godara, who did both a BTech as well as an MTech from IIT Delhi, who was there on site. Let me set the stage, and then I will invite Manmohan, who has done a fantastic job on research, and bring it down to the ground on how some of these things can be practically applied to IITD Alumni Association's mandate towards building an actionable set of activities that drive our mission and vision. So what we have done, Pradeep and the team, and we will take our 15 minutes perhaps to get ideas from the people. So if you can please open up your mics and speak and give us some inputs on what we have presented, that would be quite valuable. Or you can enter the chat room and provide your inputs. On this slide, essentially, we think there are two elements for IITDAA, IIT Delhi Alumni Association. One has to do with IITD, of course, that is what we are all about. And the other element is the success of the alumni. So we have divided it into 4 buckets when it comes to what can IITD do already. So if you reflect back on what Somnath mentioned today when he started the conversation of his experiences at IIT Kanpur, IIT Delhi, giving to the industry, so contribution to the industry is one element of what we want to think from an IIT Delhi perspective. Another one that we have talked a lot about today and in our conversations so far, Pradeep and team, is contribution to society, contribution to community. I heard terms like nation building. I don't know if if we want to be as ambitious as that, but why not? Can we really make a substantive difference to community, to society, to nation? So we want to think about that. There were conversations about how does IIT attract research students? How does IIT become meaningful for entrepreneurship, for industries, so graduating successful students? And then as Manmohan and Nammi talked about, how do we make IIT really recognized for what it is absolutely capable of among not only peer institutions, I would argue, but also global counterparts around the world, right? So recognition among the institutions. And then we put IIT Alumni Association really paying a very.
Eating that, I thought I would vomit. It's very difficult because after a long time I just put a lot of things.
Guys, if please pay attention to this or go on mute. Thank you. So the role that IIT Delhi Alumni Association has to contribute to our alma mater's continuing success and our alumni's continuing success. So a little bit of a eye chart in this slide, but we want us to be thinking about these domains. And then the point that even Vinay mentioned just now, what do we want IIT to be known for? Is something we want us all to be thinking about. And with this, maybe I'll pass it on to Manmohan, so he can walk us through what we're thinking about in terms of vision, mission, and activities. Manmohan, do you want to take over?
Sure. A couple of slides and I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So basically from the chart you saw that in a way the vision needs to be centered around two things. One is IIT Delhi's success, continuing success, as well as the alumni's success. So go to the next slide. Yeah. So the vision needs to be centered on that. And from those two, from the twofold vision, we need to come up with the mission. We know who the stakeholders are. We know the stakeholders are students, alumni, students, industry, society, and peer institutions, whether in India or abroad. And similarly, on the alumni side, we know the two goals or the two missions really need to be the professional success as well as personal support. Some of us are quite not very well networked. So go ahead, Sundi.
Yeah.
So we are going to propose a vision, sort of what you see in the top line. The items in gray below were the drafts that we had, but the vision is simply IITD Alumni Association enables the continuing success of IIT Delhi and its alumni globally. Just that. Go ahead, Sundi.
Yeah.
And likewise, the mission being a twofold mission to enable IIT Delhi alumni to engage with IIT Delhi for its continuing success. And then there are three missions there: helping students achieve their goals before and after graduation, regarding IIT Delhi's efforts or amplifying those efforts vis-a-vis industry, society, and peer institutions worldwide, and through recognition of IIT Delhi by industry and peer institutions worldwide. And likewise, the second set of missions to enable IIT Delhi, which is us, to engage with each other and with the community. So again, professional success through professional networking, like we are doing today, and personal support through social networking. So twofold vision, twofold mission, and from there we can come on to activities. So Sundi, can I request you to take over on activities and initiate some discussion?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mohan, for setting the context. So really, I want to, Pradeep, if you could open up the mics for everyone. Really, I would like to, Manmohan, I and Ragi would like to get inputs from the people around the call to see, what does it around these dimensions. Please just share with us what you're thinking about. We have come up with these activities. For the students, there was an idea presented about mentoring them. For society, we have talked about scholarships or student scholarships. Let's hear from the people around the Zoom call what your ideas are in these two dimensions, please.
By the way, I should thank Harinder for that, because he said start with the activities first. And that's how we built this framework, a twofold. I started listing down activities as he had suggested. And then from that, it was clear there were some activities for IIT Delhi and some activities for alumni. So anyway, thank you, Harinder.
Just the ground rules for everybody. If you want to give your viewpoints, please introduce yourself briefly by telling of your name, country, that's it, and then give your comment. Back to the group.
Thanks, Pradeep. Yeah, please speak up, please. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Vijay Evalni, Toronto, Canada.
Yes, hi, Vijay.
Hi. So I was thinking we should probably have a graph or something for 1 or 2 years, points to be done and success to be measured. And from there we progress further. So we have a 10-year chart or 20-year chart, but segmentize in year-wise. So we know where we are and we keep going step by step.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. So.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Vijay. But can you? That's wonderful. One of the thoughts we had was we need to drive some quick traction also, right? So can you give us some thoughts on what would you like to see in that 10-year plan or 5-year plan?
Yeah, for example, in terms of the research associates, so we should try to have people from various countries to be going to IIT Delhi. For example, let us say I'm in Canada. Right. So from Canada, let us say in this year, we should have like 3 people or maybe 4 people who will probably go to Delhi IIT for research and how to go about doing that. And maybe the same thing for UK and Australia or other countries. So that way we have some measurable ways where success can be there. And the other point is in terms of citation, I'm not very clear about that, how to go ahead. But I think that is one more aspect where we should concentrate, have something like a measurable, inputs and outputs.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Vijay. And I think I'm taking notes, and I think this is being recorded also. This goes back to what Manmohan and Nemi also talked about, right? The whole research support stream. So we'll take note of that. Thank you, Vijay. Anybody else?
Can I
yes. Excuse me. I've got people raising hands, so I will go in that particular order if you want to raise your comment. So I will first ask Sudhir to unmute himself and to give his comments. And anybody else, please put up your hands in Zoom.
Yes, I would like to say that first of all, some group with Professor Manmohan and some other like-minded people, I really appreciate his views should be made, and these points should be taken seriously for the research improvement. In brief, as far as my reading goes, IIT has no dearth of infrastructure, no shortage of money, and no shortage of even professors' capabilities. Where it is lacking, perhaps, that is my view, though it is open to discussion and other views also, it lacks in monitoring of the faculty regarding publication and research at present. But,
so thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sudhir. See that we take it as the feedback to be given to IIT Delhi. But would you have any point to talk in terms of the vision, mission, and charter?
Vision, no, it's all from my side. Today I joined late.
Okay, not a problem. We will take all these things back and take it back to
I think, Pradeep, this is good. I think this is kind of falling in the big stream of the research. I think we took note of that. So thank you for that. So, but please have somebody else ask a question, Pradeep.
Okay,
I cannot see the...
next person going on to Anirban. Anirban, unmute yourself. And
Hi, yeah. Thanks, Pradeep, sir. Thanks, Sundhi, sir. I just have one thought. Like, when I was doing my undergrad in NIT, we had a lot of collaborations with IIT Kharagpur, because I did in NIT Durgapur. It's in the same state, West Bengal. So I was thinking if alumni here could link with alumni of other NITs, BITS, and so on, and then you could have like a mentorship program similar to the university level at the alumni level. For example, I know like IIT Delhi, for example, mentors the new IITs. The older NITs mentors the new NITs. So if you could have an alumni network here, and then that alumni network leverages to their own respective institutions to create a stronger network there. I was thinking if that can help in a way.
So what we're talking about is basically the senior alumni mentoring the junior alumni?
Well, if the senior alumni, for example, in Canada from IIT contacts someone in BITS, that thing goes back to the institute level, because they will obviously contact the institute and say, okay, we have a position here in so and so industry or enterprise, which is, both of us are trying to work it out. So that creates opportunities for students as well. So basically your IITD's continuing success, like the first point, students and industry, it's linking both of them, and it's playing a role for community building. It's a very far-fetched thought, but it's just something that came to my mind.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
take note of that.
Moving on to the next one, Raghi, do you want to unmute yourself? And you also have a spot after this, but do you still want to make any comment?
Oh, hi. Can you hear me? Yeah, actually, I have given the comments about the mentorship, but like it would be just like Anirban said. So mentorship is a good way to go to continuing the IIT circle, and so we can, like, alumni can help the students and to guide them on the proper way. So yeah, that's what I also wanted to say. I actually given the comments already to Chandy.
Yeah. So Raghi, I think we talked about that. Maybe I'll let some other people give the feedback, because you're part of the team already. Okay. If it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
next
let somebody
person,
else give,
Sanjay Jain, can you unmute yourself and give the comment?
Yes, Manmohan, Sundi,
Hi,
great job in putting it together. Hi, I want to just add a dimension to this, which had been, which will kind of fit in the IITD's continuing success and alumni's continuing success. I want to say 8 or 10 years ago, IIT Delhi had a program where they would invite the alumni for a special sessions, like Manmohan Zodi has been invited as a visiting professor. Not everybody can commit a semester or a whole summer, but they would invite you for 3 or 4 weeks of program to address the students. It could be during semester and so forth. I think that would be something phenomenal for our student body to hear from the successes. At the time, I was invited, but then something happened and it changed the direction. I was the IT executive for a very large IT corporation. So they wanted to see how my transition went from civil engineer to IT and what's the role of healthcare IT today. Just an example of what I know from my experience, but that program since then has died. And that could connect these two vision and mission things and add to the activities if we can connect back with IIT Senate and so forth.
Absolutely, Sanjay. That is a very, very valid, and it will be taken up at a later point in time. This is already on the radar that we need to have just not, adjunct professors. We need to have people coming on for short visits, maybe for, 1 elective, 2 electives kind of a subject, people from industry coming through, people from academia.
Right.
Absolutely. I think that is a very, very strong component. So point taken. Thank you very much. In the interest of time, just 2 more questions, and that is one is next is Sanjay Gadhalia. Sanjay, unmute yourself and then say whatever comment you have.
Hi, Pradeep. I'll also enable my video. Hi, Sundi. Long time.
Hi, Sanjay. Good to see you.
See you, buddy.
Good.
Old rendezvous times are revived. Okay, my basic points on this sheet, actually, it seems to be wanting to do too many things for too many people. I would like to focus on a few issues which connect the people at large, with A, with their careers, B, with fun. First is fun. Careers, anyway, everybody is actually stuck with and are working their asses off. So I don't want actually too much of fundas and all to be floated around. Though those happen automatically because of our background as well as our industry experience that we have. But getting the entire IITD alumni active on its current platform that Ravi has tried to do is something that we need to strengthen his hands on, so that the next election, election or even the activities on the IITD alumni portal see at least 25 to 30,000 hits on a maybe on a daily basis, where people are actually
Sanjay, this is Pradeep. What is the suggestion you have?
My suggestion is keep it simple, KISS.
Okay.
Not too much of GAN, not too much of interaction for institute itself. In fact, everybody of us can connect with the ISB or MIT, it doesn't matter.
Okay, point
So
taken.
just focus on the simple things to get the people to get a relationship between each other.
Understand. So
No,
we will
great.
put down your input as KISS. Okay. Then moving on to the next person, which is Pradeep Kapoor, and the last comment on the question of the day. Pradeep, please unmute yourself and put on your comments. We can't hear you.
We cannot hear you, Pradeep.
You are unmuted, but we can't hear you.
While we are waiting, please, if you have comments, type it in the chat box if you have not had a chance to share your comments.
Pradeep, can I take this space if he's not
yeah,
there?
Please do, Mr.
For
Jindal.
one minute. I am Subodh Chandran, BTech 73 and PhD 79. I was also a past president and chair of the 2013 Alumni Day Organizing Committee. My small suggestion is that probably we are short of real life research work. And one way to do that is that let the professors from the institute actually go to the industry, and industry professionals come to the institute and they carry with them the real life research requirements and then take it along together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that is a good point, which is an industry research collaboration on a cross-border sense. Now, Pradeep Kapoor, if your mic is working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Good. Thank you. So thank you for this great work that you guys are doing. Thank you to everybody. And, we have to keep it going. It's very useful for the IITD, for the country. What I would like to say is the following. And my suggestion is that, sometime back last year around this time, Yogesh, Rohit Koshi, president of the IITD Alumni Association, and myself, we had got together and brought in a lot of the ambassadors of different countries who were based in Delhi into the Senate room of IIT Delhi. And there we had an interaction with the director and with the faculty and the other students and the alumni on how we can help with the globalization efforts. I think maybe round 2 of that will be useful now, even if it is online, to take that dialogue a little further and also to catch up on how far the followed up.
Can I ask everybody to be on mute except for Pradeep Kapoor? Yes, Pradeep. PK, I think that is an excellent suggestion. In fact, it was already on my mind at the moment because, from numerous quarters, this feedback is coming that as we open chapters, we will need to be liaising with the high commissions or embassies, and we need to leverage that. And why not? The best way is to get their input. So I 100% agree. Can I ask you to, take a lead in this, because you are from IFS and you anyway have that network and the connect over there. So I want you to get involved into this. And this is what I sent a message to you, a couple of days back. So absolutely taken on board. And we have,
There are two aspects to this. One aspect is that the ambassadors and high commissioners of different countries based in Delhi and the ambassadors and high commissioners of India based in other countries outside India.
Fabulous. Both ways. Absolutely fabulous.
So that is the difficulties which
so in the interest of time, we will cut back any other comments so far, and back to you, Sunday.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, everyone, for your inputs. Please, I think you know my email address. Okay, let me just move on. So really what we need from all of you is very concrete ideas. There were a number of questions and suggestions around research. There were questions around industry, IITD collaboration. There were ideas from our friend Sanjay on not boiling the ocean and keeping it simple. So we are not getting too much struck. And then ideas from Pradeep Kapoor on again building on things that have been happening previously and leveraging that. So if I can ask all of you, this is being recorded. You can listen to it again. But if you could all come and send one idea, one or two ideas, right, by email, then we will just synthesize it together. And then there was a point around, how will we measure success? There was an idea from Professor Sudhir at the beginning on a 10-year roadmap. So really, how do we measure success? What will we be known for? 1 year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. So how do we measure success, right? And then Ravi is there. Our dean was there. What do we need from IIT Delhi? So please think about all of these and send us your suggestions. And then we already received inputs from many of you. And then I leave with this slide. This is again taken on July 22nd. This is the Department of Mechanical Engineering, where many of us went to, including Manmohan and myself. And then we have the email addresses. Ravinder needs to fix it, so we don't have multiple emails from alumni iittdac.in to some other emails. So please look at this. Contribute your ideas, Pradeep, and we will put very quickly synthesize it, and then we'll start executing on this. We've done a lot of talking already. Now it's I think Sanjay said something very nice. Let's not try to boil the ocean. Let us focus on IITD. Let us focus on the countries that we have decided as representatives to drive it forward, and let's do a few things before we start to get too ambitious. Is one thought.
Okay.
So with that, Pradeep, I'll give it back to you.
What about Ragi? Is she talking today?
So I think we will give the time back to Pradeep, to you,
Okay.
and then we'll move from there. The point is, we do want to, if I may just say, I don't think Ragi is having some connectivity issues also. We are going to take a country by country approach. This is not doable, for the world or for all of US or all of Asia. Things are done on the ground, through who you know and what you can drive. So we are really thinking about very tactical engagement in addition to this global connect. So that's what I wanted to share, Pradeep, on the country engagement part.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause to Sundeep and Mohan and input from Ragi.
And Ragi as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good as usual. Rendezvous times. Just a minute. The final word.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining.
And
back to you.
As rightly identified, this is a combination of global and local. So therefore, the country or the geography input and how the localization happens is extremely important. With that, now we move over to the last item of the day today, and this is over to Anirban and to Sanjay to talk about the newsletter, which is an important item of engagement of the community. So over to you, Anirban and Sanjay.
Sure. Thanks, Pradeep, sir. I'll be very quick. We nearly it's 60% of the newsletter is done. So we request a write-up from certain people, and we have got most of them. I'm right now, I got a few templates which I'll choose from to set up the newsletter. And we also have a database which Sanjay sir will speak on. So I think that's like the update in crux. As for the timeline, hopefully I'm targeting mid of August, a maximum of the end of August to get it up online. But I'll try by the mid of August. I couldn't get anything done this week, but I'll get it done next week. Over to you, Sanjay sir.
Sanjay.
Thank you. I am on two screens because I was using iPad, but I want to share my screen on the laptop. Anyway, good to see everybody again. Kalpan, hello. My batchmate, Manmohan, my batchmate, and everybody else. We left, Vinay just left. Regardless, so one of the things we took over with respect to newsletter is, one is the information to convey, the second is information to use. If we can't use what's in newsletter, then what's the point of putting it together? So Anirban has done a great job collecting some of the intros and bios and so forth. Felicitations. What we are focusing on, the second part, as I mentioned last week, is the directory. How we want to present ourselves to rest of the global alumni, where the newsletter will go. So in light of that, I want to share this Google Doc, which I shared with everybody last week, and I had some requests to allow access. Basically, in this Google Doc, it's a, first of all, thank you, Pradeep, for getting the information from our nominations down to us very quickly. So initial effort is to just put down our name, address, not address, branch, year of graduation. Some people have multiple degrees. Our profession, that is what are we doing today, which organization we are working with, phone number, email, and LinkedIn profile. Now the last three are completely your choice. So our goal is to use this in a nice format to present it into the alumni newsletter that will come out later this month. The task is for each one of us to update how we want to be presented. If you don't want the phone number there, please feel free to delete it. If majority deleted, we will remove that column. If majority keep the phone number, we'll keep the column. Same thing with email. Put in your preferred email. And right now in Sundi and Manmohan's slide, I saw all the alumni email addresses, which I don't see here. So we need to give the people. Now this is minded the 26 people who are nominated and accepted to Global EC. It's not all 50 who are on the call today. And it is not limited to us, to just the 26. So I request others to add their information here. And that will become a reference point if somebody wants to contact me. One of the Global EC member, I think I'm talking to him right after this call. So it's part of the connectivity. And that connectivity then will take us further into our local chapters and so on and so forth. So my request from both of us, Anirban and myself, is to please review, update it how you want to be known. And I want to tell you something, please be careful which item I finally found out who this is. This is Ram Singh, but somebody by mistake put down overrode it, right? Yeah. So, but I have the original database, so I could have corrected. Sorry, Sodhi, it happened to be you, but not to point you, just to point a process. When you update a column, it goes directly into the saved mode. And I was reviewing it yesterday and I said, wait, this is not Sodhi. He's in UK. What is this? So just this morning I found out. So just be cautious what row you are updating as against changing somebody else's information. The idea is to keep it very succinct. Okay. And that way, if I want to know who's my, who did I talk to, Sanjay Singhal, where is he? I can get to it. Okay. That's just, again, an example. It's not for me, it's for everybody else. And I want the other 30 people who are on the call to add their information in the same way. And don't worry about formatting. Anirban has already, our youngster has already taken charge and said, I'll take care of formatting. I said, thank you very much. So right now, this is only information. Please update, please correct so we can move forward with it. This is the 20% of the newsletter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is great. One observation that I can make straight away is that the advisory board members are not listed over here. So can I ask all advisory board members, if you can send this spreadsheet across, then we can. Is it being shared with everybody, or you can send it to me?
It's shared with
everyone. It was shared with everybody who was on your invite last week.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. So can I ask everybody?
Not limited.
Absolutely fabulous, guys. Can I ask everybody that we give a timeline of Wednesday next week latest for this to be updated? If you do not want your personal contact phone numbers to be, take it out. Please add or change any information you think does not represent your current situation, but please take action by close of business Wednesday. So with that, a big round of applause for Sanjay and for Anirban.
Thank you very much.
With that, now, in the interest of time, there is no bandwidth now at the moment to take any more questions. So once again, I just want to reiterate that all our meetings are open to all alumni. Today, and on average, we are hitting between 50 and 60 people. Today, also the peak was 56, and the average was 54. So it's a great stuff. Let's continue. Let's build up on the momentum. And as time goes by, we will possibly look at having these meetings, moving from a weekly to a fortnightly, maybe splitting it also into 2 meetings because it does not suit. The time zones are kind of quite challenging for some people. So maybe look at splitting into 2 sessions. So there's a lot which is happening. We've covered a lot of ground. Let's make it happen. Take care. Bye for now.
Pradeep, just one last 10 seconds.
Yes.
I already see Shashi Nanda Chawla has started to put her information. Thank you for quick action, everybody. Go for it. Until next time.
Great, thanks, Ajay. Pradeep, can you make sure, please, to capture the group chat also while you're doing the recording?
Yes, I've got it.
So, because a lot of people have given input. So, and I just want to join you in thanking everyone, and especially Manmohan and Raghi for the session that I had the opportunity to lead. So, and great job for everyone for your contributions also. Thanks, Pradeep. Back to you.
Take care. Bye-bye. And talk to you next Saturday.
Thank you.